Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 20 best mid-game pals in Palworld's 1.0 update, from base pals to combat and everything in between. There's been a lot of changes in the 1.0 update, so we'll be breaking down all of that and showing you where to get these pals. And there's actually a lot of passives that got reworked to make things a lot easier for progression in the earlier sections of the game. And there will be more than 20 pal recommendations here, because there's like a group of 6 here that I just consider one group of pals for breeding purposes, which we'll touch on a bit later. But resource gathering, that's one of the most important things in the early to mid game, and this can be done easy with Rushoar, Turtacle, and Eikthyrdeer. Now, what's cool about Rushoar here is that you can ride this and run forward while mounted, increase the efficiency of destroying stone by 2000%. This is at max partner skill. I'll be showing all these at their max partner skills so you can see what to work towards. You'll be lower at the mid game here, but what's very powerful about this is the exclusive skill Reckless Charge here. So you may not have this equipped whenever you hop on here. Anytime you see stones, ore, and etc., you're just going to end up using this skill here, which will end up destroying it. Now, you will get carried down by you'll get weighed down by carrying too many items. And that's where Turtacle's special skill, the Spiky Carrier, comes in handy. Reduces the weight of ore by 100%. This is at level 5 here. This is extremely valuable. Let's say you're carrying 3,000 ore, and it doesn't weigh a thing. That is really good. So this combination here is great for gathering resources. And you can find Rushoar right to the west of the first tower they'll be fighting, just in this area here. And it's also down closer to the Sweepa section. So there's 2 spots. And Turtacle can be found in a variety of different locations. So actually very close to where you find Rushoar here, which makes it a great pal to grab early. And likewise for gathering tree resources, Eikthyrdeer, they have the Antler Uppercut, and you can also ride them that you can get like level 27 here. And what this does is if you're using it against a tree, it just lets you take down the tree pretty quick and easy. So this is one of the better ones in the early game for taking down trees. There is Mammorest as well, which I'll talk about, but yeah, this is a solid one. And you can also use their other skills here to help out with breaking these things apart. That was not the best choice for that. So yeah, they are pretty solid at taking care of business when it comes to trees. And the best thing about this, Rushoar will have a 3 in its mining skill. When it's fully condensed here, it'll have a 5 in that. As well, Turtacle can also do a bit of watering, mining, and it's also good at transporting items. And Eikthyrdeer is great for just general logging. It'll have a 4 in the skill, and you can upgrade that to 6. Actually, it starts at 2 and it'll move its way up to 6 here. Every time that you condense it and increase the level of this here, this will end up getting increased as well. We will talk about some other resource pals a little bit later, but movement and mobility is so important, especially in the early game. And we have, I guess, 5 great options to choose from. Galeclaw, which is cool. It'll change how your glider works, letting you do some pretty cool tech using the grappling gun alongside your glider. Beakon, one of my favorites, which will change your attack types to electric. Amazing if you're going against water type pals, because this will make your bow do electric damage, or your guns, which is extremely powerful, dealing double damage. Helzephyr, which I love, change your attack type to dark, great for if you're going against normal types. Ragnarok, which will also change your attack type to fire and increase your attack by 20%. Run with any of these here, and then I'm also going to mention Vanwyrm here, but Galeclaw doesn't even need to be your pal that is out. And what happens is whenever you use your glider here, you can also use guns. So this is really fun for a variety of reasons, but you can also use things like the hook shot here, or the grapple gun, to increase your speed as well, which is really crazy because you can do some cool movement tech with this gun here. One of the things is whenever you shoot it like that, jump just as soon as you're about to hit the ground there, and you can fly around at massive speeds here, which is amazing for just exploration. So yeah, highly recommend Galeclaw, one of the best ways to get around. Beakon as well is also a great choice, just because you got that electric damage type, which is really good. Oh, we're getting shot up here. And I'm a personal big fan of Helzephyr, which is great because you can actually breed Beakon and Helzephyr together to get Helzephyr Lux, which is one of my favorites. That is the same pass as Beakon, change your attack type to electric. Now I'm combining, I guess, all these birds into a single recommendation just because there's a different flavor for what you enjoy. Galeclaw is really good though. Being able to use your glider like that is awesome. He only has a 2 naturally in his gathering skill there, which is pretty solid, but it can get upgraded to 6 there. Now with Beakon, he has a 4 in generating electricity, 2 in gathering, and a very high transporting skill of 5. So I really like Beakon. They can do it all at your camp. Generating electricity is really nice to have. The Helzephyr here is going to come with a 4 in transporting, so Beakon is a little bit better in that regard. Ragnarok comes with kindling level 4 and transporting level 5, so my choice between the 2 of these for a base pal would be either Ragnarok or Beakon, depending on what you prefer. So I'm just going to conclude these 4 together. And for Galeclaw, you can find them in the following locations here on the map, so very large sections of the mid-early game. Helzephyr is a nighttime pal that you can find over on the main islands here, so they will not appear during the daytime. So if you're checking your Palpedia, they appear here during the day and near the main sections during the night. Helzephyr Lux actually does appear at like the level 50 to 60 zone too, if you just want to catch one straight up. Beakon can be found in these locations here, so it is worth looking for daytime or night. And Ragnarok is a little bit later on at the volcano here, so around levels like 50-ish. This is a perfect segue from Ragnarok into Vanwyrm, who is a fire and dark type. Now, this is a pal that you can keep in your party at all times, because when it's in your party, it increases the damage the player deals to enemy weak points by 40% when fully maxed out. This is very powerful. This makes it one of the best buffs for your player until you get to the late game. There's also Vanwyrm Christ, which their special form is 50%, and yeah, you can have those stack, even though they're the same name. Oddly enough, they do end up stacking, but with this skill, 2 in kindling and a 3 in transporting. So it is really good for just general base purposes. It's good for combat, and fire and dark covers a lot of different types. And you can actually find it in later, mid, and very early sections of the game. So this is where you're looking at on the map. What I like most about Vanwyrm, though, is just that critical hit boost. It is seriously so good. It starts off at 20% and then it scales up to 40 later levels. So yeah, I want to recommend all the birds together just because it's a different flavor for depending on what you want. I really like Beakon here, but also Helzephyr Wix Beakon is a really cool combo as well. And Vanwyrm obviously strong. Next up, we have Penking. Now, what Penking does well is just like everything at the base. It is good at watering with the base level 2 in watering, 2 in handiwork, 3 in mining, 2 in cooling, and a 3 in transporting. So he really can do everything. But what's cool about this is if you're going to any of the fire locations, at max level, you get 80% more items when you defeat enemies that are fire types. So this can be extremely impactful because he's also water and ice types, so he's good against dragons and he's good against fire. This is a very strong offensive pal, a good base pal, and it's a cool design too. I just really like Penking just because of everything he's capable of doing. I'm not sure what he's doing right there, but yeah, he's really good at early, like mid-game base work. So yeah, highly recommend having him just because of all the skills that he's capable of. And you can find them in a lot of locations across the map, so that's the nice thing about it. The most earliest will be just right there. And there's a level 15 raid boss version as well, so you can get this pal very quickly and early on. Now, I guess similar to Vanwyrm, I want to recommend Gobfin here and his other clone, Gobfin Ignis. Late game, you can use Solen and these two to give yourself 120% extra damage. This is really good. It's their special ability while in the party. It increased the player's attack by 20%. So hypothetically, you could run with a party full of 5 Gobfins here if you wanted to. I wouldn't fully recommend it, but these two do count as separate species if you're using things like Solen, who doesn't work if you have multiple of the same type. What's great about Gobfin though is it buffs out the player, so that really does benefit well if you're using Vanwyrm too, because you're getting increased damage, increased critical hit damage. Gobfin is really good, so I would highly recommend them. And to find yourself a Gobfin, it's actually, there's a ton of them. This is like the Gobfin section of the map. You can also find them over here, and then Gobfin Ignis is more so volcano level 50-ish, but yeah, you can actually run with multiple of these. If you love to just use your weapons against pals, this is the pal to grab. Now next up we have Herbil, who is another pal that's really valuable whenever you're in combat because it looks like palm mod, but what it does is it uses its healing power to restore 60% of the player's health if you get knocked out. So if you get taken out by anything, he comes over, does this really cute animation where he's like giving you like CPR basically, and he's like okay at the base. He gets 1 in planting, 1 in gathering, and 1 in transporting, so you can do some things in the base. He's not a superstar by any means, but it's more so for this passive. Being grass and neutral type isn't like fantastic. He's weak to fire and dark types, but he has a unique skill, Konoha Flip here, which is really sweet, and it also is impacted by if there's anyone with IV covered here. So yeah, he's more so best used for just reviving you. You just have to have him in the party. You don't even have to toss him out. He's a cute little guy. He'll keep you alive. And you can grab yourself one of these at the variety of different locations here. Most early in the game, which is right there, literally right as soon as you get off the basic start of the map, and then he's over there too. Now, I'm a big fan of Lylene and Lylene Noct. They are a bit harder to get now in 1.0. This is where Petallia comes in because this is like a diet version of them. So with this, you get a healing spell, which can at max stacks do 85% of the player's health. So this is really good. You pull this out, heal yourself. Best heal in the game aside from Lylene Noct. When at the base, it'll also increase the planting work suitability for all other base pals by 1. So yeah, everyone's gonna become better at planting. Great for if you have like a food base, for example. but it also comes with a lot of different work suitabilities. It's got a 4 in planting, a 3 in handiwork, that 4 gets boosted up. It's got a 3 in gathering, it has a 4 in medicine production, and a 2 in transporting. So it's really doing pretty much everything at your base. This is a very good pal to grab because of just everything that it comes with here at the very like mid-game section. And you can find yourself Petallia in these sections of the map. Now you can also breed it with a bushy, which is found in this area here, which will give you a Petallia Ignis. This is also found at the world tree. This will give you even more healing there, and player and party pals will take 15% less damage from grass and are immune to ivy covered. So pretty cool little combination there. It trades at the planting skill for kindling. Next is a really cool pal, Felbat. Now, what Felbat does best is it is a way to get lifesteal. So while fighting together, grants the player and Felbat a lifesteal effect that'll give 9% of damage dealt to his health. It's 5 at its basic level. This is also the same passive as Lovander. I know a lot of people don't love Lovander, but it's cool. This is a dark type as well. It comes with like Nightmare Ball, Spear Flame, Shadow Burst. It has a 3 skill in medicine. So this is a pal that you're typically just going to use for combat. This is great against boss fights because if you have a shotgun or something, pop him out, blast away with your shotgun. Even better if you're like Vanwyrm Chris, because you're then going to get increased critical hit damage off and do even more health steals. So this is a very good pal to grab. And you can find it down here, but I have seen it over here at nighttime. I'm not sure why it's not listed there, but the alternative is using Lovander, who also only appears at night at the desert spots there. This is more like a level 50 area, but both of these are really good. They are a little bit later on in the game. Just want to mention that. Now, next up is Suzaku. Suzaku, what's cool about this is he can actually let you get to the late game section over here very early on. Basically, you just swim out over to the lowest island and then fly up. He is the only one that has enough stamina to do so. He's got a lot of stamina, and that's why I'm going to recommend him here, because he's not the fastest. He does get boost to your speed if you have like a full fire team. This is with just him, so this is like his normal basic speed without any speed passives, but it's really just the massive amount of stamina that he gets that lets you get to new places really easily. And again, you can go all the way to this late game section, grab some of the late game or spheres here, and be able to catch pals, and even try your luck at Jet Dragon if you wanted to, right off of the basic start of the game. You can get a lot of powerful ones like Ophidia, Jet Dragon, Hydra Launch, Snock, Slowwatt, Wistella, Dynamoth, and Floracle there. I have talked about them in like my later game videos, but for the mid game, this guy's the GOAT. He lets you access some pretty cool spots, so yeah, I have to recommend him. Now he starts with a basic 5 in kindling, and you can get it all the way up to level 9 at max condensed, and he gets a 25% movement speed buff for every other fire pal. So you can get 100% movement speed with the 4 other pals in your party. And you can find him at the top of like the spires in the desert here. So you can run over here, grab him, and then fly over here and go to the late game. If you're a speed runner, this is like a good strategy. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Suzaku Aqua version, which you can get by breeding, or you can also find it in the later game section. The reason I want to give it a quick shout out is because it's a water type. It can increase movement speed by 5 or 25% for every water type, but you can actually fish off the back of this. There's no other like flyers in the game that you can actually fish from. So if you're into that, this is a cool one. One of Palworld's cutest pals, funny enough, is actually one of the fastest water mounts in the game with Chillet. Now, Chillet is great because you can go really fast on land too, but when you're in water, this is the second fastest water pal, only behind Neptilius. So yeah, if you're looking for a swimming pal, this would be it because it goes so fast. So yeah, it's great for a variety of reasons, but it's also cute, and it's a dragon and ice type, making it pretty solid against very common enemies. It will also change your attack types to dragon, similar to Quivern, and increase the attack power by 20%. It has classic dragon and ice type attacks, which again is good against dragon and dark types, which are very common. It gets a 1 in gathering and a 2 in cooling, but those can be upgraded here. If you need a water mount, this is one of the best early mid-game options by far, and super cute. You can also get Chillet Ignis, which is also pretty strong. And you can find Chillet in these regions here, but there is also a boss variant that you can get very early on, and Chillet Ignis is found over in this section over here. You can also breed for it. And to breed for Chillet Ignis, you need a Chillet and Arsox. The next thing I want to recommend another dual type that kind of does it all, Incineram. Now, not like a lot of people's favorite pal, but what's great about it is it comes with 3 in kindling, 2 in handiwork, 2 in transporting, and a 3 in mining. This makes it good at a lot of things at the base. It's also a decent enough strong pal. It's got like the Hellfire Claw, which is exclusive attack here, which does a good amount of damage, and it has a 2.5 times damage multiplier. So this is a really good pal to have in your party if you want to have some pal that's just going to do a lot of damage. I know I talked about a lot of pals that buff the player, but this itself is honestly very strong for like that early mid game. Incineram is a pretty solid choice to go with. And you can find Incineram in the Volcano section of the map. And there's also Incineram Knocked. If you don't want the fire type associated, it is just at the Wildlife Sanctuary over here, which Incineram will trade away its Kindling for a better handiwork, mining, and transporting, and it gets Nightmare Claw. So yeah, bigger horns as well. And next up we have Wixen here, who has a really cool ability, the Lord Fox, which will change your damage type into fire and increase it by 50%. This is a really strong one. I love the like wizard cap. But yeah, it's got that really nice ability at max stacks. It can increase your attack by 50%. That's super good. It also comes with some pretty solid attacks as well. Flame Storm is really nice. Also, 3 Kindling, 3 Handiwork, and 2 in Transporting. You'll see those levels there at maxed out. So it's a good base pal because it can do a bit of everything here. It's great for combat, especially if you're building around fire. I'd recommend checking out my build video that I posted yesterday for like the top 5 builds. I actually used Wixen as part of it and added additional burn onto our attacks. Also increased the damage against burn targets by 65% with Yorwentide Ignis, creating a flame shield with magics, and then also doing explosions on fire damage with Turtacle. So yeah, very good pal to combine with these here, but I'd recommend checking out the pinned comment for more. And you can find yourself a Wixen over on this section over here or at the Volcano, and I'd highly recommend doing it. It only increases your attack by 30% at the start, but it scales up to 50. This is a really good pal to grab. Next, I'm going to actually pile 3 into 1 again here for recommendation with Digtoys, Reptyro, and Mammorest. A lot of people are familiar with Mammorest. This is a really good one for logging because it has the special ability Gaia Crusher. When mounted, increases log efficiency by 500% and mining efficiency by 2000%. This also has some attacks that you can just blast away with, like Earth Impact, which will just destroy everything in its wake. Grass Tornado is another very powerful skill, and it does have a lot of other good ones. This is a pal that's great for knocking down trees and going after all types of resources, so that's why I'm including it here. I also want to talk about Reptyro because it's a very powerful one because it reduces the weight of all types of ore by 60%. So the other one decreases the weight of ore by 100%. This is for all types of ore, so very good to have. And it's also a really cool design fire and ground type with a very high 5 in its kindling and a 5 in its mining, making it a great base pal or a great one for just gathering. And Digtoys, which when activated does a spell shell spin, which is nice, but follows the player while spinning, increasing ore mining efficiency by 2000%. So again, you see where this is going. This is like a later game version of like a collection ore and logging type build. He has a 4 in his mining, which will go up to 8, making him a great base pal as well if you fully condense it. They also have respectable attack stats. Reptyro's like really strong as well. But yeah, I'd recommend grabbing these because they're all 3 ground types and they're great for just resources. And to find Mammorest, it's in all these locations here, so you'll have no trouble finding them. And there's even a legendary boss version at level 35. Digtoys is also available in this section of the map, as well as everywhere in the desert. And Reptyro is found in the Volcano near the top section there. Next, we got the goodest boy, Yakumo. Now, Yakumo is really good for catching stronger pals because it has birds of a feather. Whenever you ride and fight together, it has to be out in your party fighting actively. You get a 30% increased chance of encountering pals with the same passive skills as this pal. Why this is good, you can use the surgery table, give it the passive skills that you want, like the Demon Hand or Demon God, go for all the defense or offensive ones like Muscle Head, you name it, Serenity. And with that, you are going to be having a chance. It has a 30% chance to pass on each passive. So if you have 4 passives, it's going to reroll for each of them. You can catch some very powerful pals this way. Yakumo is extremely powerful, only a 2 in gathering. This is more so a pal you'd use to get stronger pals later on. We are getting into some of the later game pals because it's only available in like the Cherry Blossom Forest section over here, so that's where you're looking to find it. I'm going to give a quick mention to Amione here, which will increase the watering work suitability for all base pals by +1, and also Prunelia here. While at the base, it'll bless the crops, increasing the harvest by 35%. So if you have a base dedicated purely to like farming, these 2 are good for that. And I should also mention Lulu as well, which will increase the growth rate of crops by 70% while it's at your base. So combining all these together, this one has a 3 in planting, 3 in handiwork, 2 in gathering, and 3 in medicine production. You can find Lulu above where you can find Yakumo there. Prunelia here is found in the Faybreak region. And Amione can be found near the start of the game, and it's also at the late game sections. Now, as mentioned, I'm going to combine 6 pals into one recommendation here because this isn't for everyone. I just want to make that clear. Breeding, some people just don't like it. But if you want to get guaranteed alphas using Bronze Cherry Aqua and Bronze Cherry, which will give you a 45% chance of getting an alpha and a 55% chance, they're different named passives, so these stack for 100%. Every egg that you pick up when these are in your party will be an alpha. This is great for farming legendary schematics and much more. I also want to throw Grintail into there because when you pick up a pal egg, there's a 75% chance of getting an extra egg, which is amazing because when you're picking up those alpha eggs, sometimes you'll get 2 alpha eggs with a 75% chance at max stacks. I also would throw in Braloha here because this will increase the egg production speed of pals assigned to breeding farms by 50% while it's at your base, so you can have the eggs be churned out at a faster rate. And 2 of the best to have for breeding as well, kind of ancillaries, Bee-Guard, because Bee-Guard is the only method of getting honey. You can't purchase it from any of the traders. Putting 2 Bee-Guards at a ranch will give you a ton of honey, which is used to make cakes, which is needed for breeding. Now, the best, in my opinion, early game breeding pal is Doomud Guild here because this can be sold for like 50k gold. It's actually insane. Basically, what you want to do is you want to have these in your party. You want to have this one at your base. You want to have 2 Doomud Guilds at your breeding spot. I have a full video on this. Basically, you just breed a bunch of these, sell them. It is the best gold method in the game. There's another pal that's later on in the game that you can also just catch and sell, but this one is just really good. And you can also put this at a ranch for gold coins and get high quality pal oil, but yeah, these 2 are really good at ranches. Now, there is a lot of pals in the game, and I try to limit these to just mid-game pals. I don't want to like recommend you guys to go grab Anubis the Sekhmet right at the mid-game. They are more so late game, but these 2 are insanely powerful. With Sekhmet, basically when it's at your base, it boosts Anubis's work speed by 400% or 40%. But it'll also, there's 2 passives here. It's actually kind of weird how it describes it because this is one passive, this is another passive. It'll increase the efficiency by 400% if it's an alpha, if Sekhmet is also working on a workbench, workshop, or other related facilities. So this is a weird passive because it just applies to her at all times, making her workbench, workshop, and other related facilities scale very fast. She also comes naturally with a very high 6 in her handiwork, which is amazing because she's really good at it. 3 in mining, and it can go up to 5 without books, and then transporting out of 2. So she does everything. Her transporting animations are also really funny. What's great about this is there's also an exclusive skill here, and it's a pretty solid one. It looks really funny, somersault scratch, but you're boosting up Anubis, who is one of the best in the game. So whenever you have them active, you can get ground types and increase your attack by 50%, which is cool. Occasionally evades attacks with flash types. So he's good at combat. He also has his own exclusive skills, which are really great. 2 of them, spinning roundhouse as well, and sand tornado is a very powerful skill too. Handiwork, he is also very good with a 6 naturally. He also gets a 6 in his mining and a 4 in transporting. So for mining bases, these 2 are really good until you get to the late game when you can get like the Aegidron, who's the best. But yeah, these 2 are amazing. And you can find Anubis over in this section here, but there is a legendary fight version of him. And they're also, it's not listed, but he does show up at this part here. Like there is a lot of drops where the pals will show up, but they aren't actually in the Palpedia. So he does show up at that spot, which is also a place where you can find, I guess that island up there too. That's another spot you can find Anubis, but she's found in the desert section during day or night. And also on that island over here too. Actually, that's the island I meant to talk about there. So Anubis also has a level 55 boss version you can fight just right here on the map, so that's another method if you just want him a little quicker. Some more mid-game pals, Omascul here, which will increase the party's XP gain by 80%. I have a guide on how to take a pal if you're at the end game from level 1 up to level 78 in 2 minutes. He's responsible for that. He boosts up your pal's experience gain. Very powerful, and is a cool looking owl. I love this pal. Splatterina, another really good one. When in the party, the amount of items obtained by using the meat cleaver increases by 200%. So yeah, these are 2 pals that are really good just for like drops and overall XP. Gangler Ignis. This is a very fast fish that is fire and water type and increases the movement speed for every water or fire type in your party, which you can actually get a full spread of pals with that. So this is a really good one for just general exploring. There's a regular Gangler as well. Quiver, one of my favorites, really good, but kind of fell off in terms of how many good dragon types there are in this game. Pyron is another good one. It's a flying type, so you can fly it, and it increases your attack power by 20% and changes it to fire type with a 2 in its kindling, or it has a 5 in kindling and 2 in its logging. Warsex is another good one if you're going for more melee focus because it'll create a shell around you to protect you, and it comes with a lot of good skills here, planning, handiwork, lumbering, and transporting. Also kind of cool design there too. Kitsune also will decrease the player and pal's damage from ice types and makes them immune to freeze. And this is another really cool looking pal that is fire type and very worth grabbing if you're in the volcano region. Nightwing's another okay pal. I didn't want to recommend too many other choices that are like Killamari, for example, similar to Galeclaw. They change how your glider works. Lovander is similar to the Felbat here. And I tried to avoid using too many like late game pals. Like I do have videos on that. So there is a lot of good ones like Rouge, Blazamut, Ryu that are like mid-ish later game. Quiver and Botan. There's also, I guess, Nidal Noct. I guess Helzephyr Lux I mentioned. And there's some here that are more so like late game that I consider. I just don't want to classify any of these out of place. We also have things like Robin Quill if you're going with a bow build. These are the two best for bows, alongside Lumen, which can make arrows explode on contact, as well as Hoodle, which will increase the damage of targets that aren't in combat by 100%. And this is very generous. Sometimes you can get multiple hits off before that happens. So that's just if you want to be defensive, this is the best. You'll reduce the damage your shield takes by 80% and increases recharge delay. If you're using shotguns, Nyafia here will increase your shotgun damage. Xenoguard will increase your energy damage. So there's a lot of really good other pals here, but I just try to keep this to as many like mid-game pals as possible. So let me know your thoughts on the best mid-game pals in Palworld in the comments. Again, I try to keep this as mid-game as possible. I do have other videos and builds for late-game pals, so if you want to check those out, you can go and see. But if this video is useful, please consider hitting the subscribe button below, and I hope you guys all have an incredible day.